So my name is Sylvain. I often say that I'm a recovering software engineer. I have a technical background, and so I became an agile coach, or helping organizations change their culture in order to embrace new ways of working. And then I realized that actually I was really more and more passionate about people problems, or people topics. So I think it was 7 years ago I went to my first coaching school here in Singapore. And I often say that I wear many coaching hats. There is the agile coach, but also the life coach, also the leadership coach. Recently, I've been very interested in what we call relationship and systems coaching, which is one-to-many coaching. So I'm deepening my education around that. And also the field of embodiment, which is basically how we use the body in coaching. So yeah, that's pretty much about me.
So yes, I'm Tushar Somaya. I have 20 years of IT experience. I started off as a developer, and slowly but surely was climbing up the ladders, project leader, manager, all of that. It's been 10 years now that I've been coaching, and started off again in software and in IT, mainly with agile coaching per se. And the more I went deeper into it, the more I realized I myself got transformed and changed, and I realized that we need to share this gift with others as well. And when we do agile transformation in IT and banks, I'm realizing that there's more and more people aspect of it. When a person transforms, the department and the business transforms, and everything around him or her changes. So I guess it starts with me first. And I learned my coaching, I think 10 years back, which was with Brain-Based Coaching, Neuro Leadership Group Australia. And that was a scary moment because I suddenly started seeing and hearing that I never saw first or I never heard before. And it was really scary. So I think I had to understand what was going on, what coaching was really, and deepen it further. So hence I took up another school of thought, which is Transformational Coaching from True North Resources US, Dr. PALOT. That's where I had this insight that, okay, that's my calling. I need to share this gift of coaching with everyone in the world as well, help them transform. So that's what my motto is now. And the more I do agile coaching, the more I am deepening my practice. I'm realizing that one-on-one coaching is different, whereas trying to coach a system or relationships is completely different ball game altogether. So that is something that I'm learning still, which is organization, relationship and systems coaching. That's what I am personally. Otherwise, I'm a yogi. I do a lot of yoga, meditation, and I think that's needed for me to ground myself and center after all the coaching that we do.
Okay, there are many motivators. I think the number one that Tushar mentioned a little bit earlier is that coaching conversations really changed my own life. I learned so much thanks to these conversations, the depth, the personal growth. And at one point I was like, I really want to bring this to the organization, to PALO IT. That's probably the number one. Number two is, as you know, we are really aspiring to become a more conscious organization. We want to harness the power of technology for the greater good, which is our vision. And for me, this internal coaching program was a great vehicle to walk the talk. Because it's so easy to say, yeah, we are more conscious, we strive to be a better organization, a purpose-driven organization. But then, when you look under the hood, there is just nothing. These are just, words on the wall. So I think that was really the second main motivator for me.
So for me, the main motivation was really the difference and the impact that coaching made to me myself personally and as professional was profound. It changed me. It was a turning moment in my life myself. That was the first impact. And the second impact was then there was this calling within me that I should be sharing this gift with others. If it can have such an impact on me and my surroundings and everyone around me, then imagine if I share this gift with others, what would happen? How I can be a part of this transformation myself? How can I do my bit? And that's why we started ICP within PALO IT. And it very nicely aligned with our ambition as well, which is tech for good. The future of work that we are talking about, it absolutely aligned. When we bounced it off to HR, to Jess, it was like an instant click, like yes, this is what we want and we are okay to share it. And there the initiative started.
And to add on to what Tushar just mentioned, there is a big trend in our field, which is bringing your whole self to work. We call it wholeness. And something that we've realized is that a coaching program is a wonderful vehicle again in order to help people be more themselves at work, because very often we have this very thick professional mask, as soon as we step into the office. And what we've noticed is that people become more authentic. They give themselves, I would say, permission to be themselves. And so that's also one of the, I guess, something very, very dear to our hearts, something that we really wanted to bring to the organization.
There are many aspects to it. Maybe I start with the first one that I think, and carrying on from where he left, which is being your authentic self. It's okay to feel the way we are feeling and to even express it and to even bounce it off and talk about it. So that environment is what is future of work all about, that psychological safety, that leadership style or that leadership stance, that I will be vulnerable myself as a leader and it's okay for you to be as well, and let's talk about it and support each other. To create that psychological safety, you got to be vulnerable yourself first. That's the gift and that's the environment we believe is the future of work, and we wanted to bring it.
It's 2020, the pandemic, it's been one of the greatest accelerators. And for me, definitely, if you are equipped with the skills that you learn, in coaching, you become much more resilient. And for me, there was a big difference last year between the people with the skills to handle this, and suddenly you work from home, so the boundaries between work and personal life and private life, they started blurring. Could be very challenging to handle that. So I think with those skills, you become much more skillful, to handle this. That's one. Two is that we know that in the future, you'll probably have multiple careers, in your life. That's also something that can be challenging for many people. So, and I really feel that coaching conversations can help. I really see this as a superpower.
In the 21st century, we are actually looking forward to digital transformation. In this process of transformation, while the business is transforming, the ecosystems are transforming, how about the person and us as well, and our culture? How can we transform that? And we need to keep up pace with the ecosystem and the digital transformations that are happening. So how do we keep up to that pace as well? All these questions were cropping up. My personal belief, and I think I'm sure Silva also agrees, and we have discussed so many times between us, is to change the culture, we need to change the conversation. We change culture one conversation at a time. Coaching as a leadership style, as well as coaching as a space to people, is where this change begins. To be comfortable with your own self, to be able to change the conversation we are having within and with our own self, and then be able to actually have that conversation with others outside. That is one side of it. The second side, as a leader, a lot of changes are happening around me as a leader. How do I manage this change? How do I manage the change within myself as well? So that's where again leadership coaching comes into play, and the consciousness coaching comes into play as well. So there are so many aspects. It links, I think it fits every bit of business we can think of, because it's people finally.
So when we sat down, I remember it was, I think, 3 years ago, Tusha and myself, we realized that actually an internal coaching program, it's a product, or it's a service, if you will. Product and services, this is our bread and butter. I mean, we've been helping organizations deliver superior experiences. Who are we talking to? What's our audience? Oh, we have the clients, so the PALO ones. We have different stakeholders, like HR. We decided we brainstorm on our value proposition. So what are the communication channels? What are the pains? What are the gains? What are the resources that we need in order to run the program successfully? We brainstorm around the journey of a client. So these are the exact same tools that we use with our clients. So we have the toolkit. We realize that we have all the toys and we just apply them.
Yeah, so the design thinking tools that you just mentioned, which is personas, the business canvas, all of that we did. And I still remember, the whiteboard where we had the canvas, sticky notes everywhere. Carrying on to that, I think we are into agile transformation. We help our clients transform digitally as well as agile. And the next step, we were thinking, like, we always tell our clients, start small. We always tell our client, what is the hypothesis you want to test first? I remember our conversation, like, what is it for us now? And it was really interesting to see all those tools being played by us, on us, for our own product, which is internal coaching program. And it was a difficult conversation, and we really empathized how the client really felt, by the way, during these conversations. But anyways, long story short, the MVP for us that we thought would be is, instead of going full big bang, let's just start a small pilot. Can we have 2 clients? Can we have 4 Palovans? 2 coaches each, so 4 first, and see how it goes and what sort of feedback we are getting.
Okay, so if you want to start an engagement with me, right, a coaching engagement with us, so first you register interest. After that, actually something new that we just added is we ask you to kind of write a letter, explaining why you want to be coached. Because we realize that sometimes people are not very clear about, the topics, the issues, the challenges that they want to bring into the coaching space. And then, the day it's your turn to be coached, basically we have what we call a chemistry session. So in the chemistry session, we're going to answer your questions about coaching. We're going to explain how the coaching engagement works. We're going to do a little bit of coaching as well during the chemistry session, so that you get a felt sense, of how it works and if this is the right thing for you. After this, you sleep over it a little bit, and then you decide, all right, Sylvain, all right, Tusha, I want to work with you, or I'm not so sure. Maybe I want a chemistry session with the other coach. Because we strongly believe that, coaching is a partnership, it's a relationship. That's why it's called chemistry. So you're going to have a series of sessions with your coach, capped at 12. All right, so this is actually pretty good, because in many organizations it's 3, 5, 7, 12. You really have time to change your life in 12 sessions, believe me. And at the end, there is a feedback form where you will be asked anonymously how the coaching engagement went for you. Also for us to improve, the way we rerun the program. And yeah, I think that's basically how it works.
Talking about the 12 sessions, I guess 12 was the number we contemplated on. Like you mentioned, it's huge. 1 session per week, I think it's 3 months already. And we chose that number because it takes 100 days to change a habit. This is one option, which is a full development program. The other option that we have is, if you are just having an ad hoc discussion, like right now, I just want someone to listen to me, someone to soundboard, just want to talk about it, and I'll get unlocked. I will get unblocked. Then those are called ad hoc sessions. We just have that discussion, maybe 1 session, maybe 2 or 3 sessions, and done. So there is no full development program, setting of goals and strategies, none of it, just ad hoc. So we have these 2 flavors available.
Boundaries, it's a very big topic in the coaching community. I want to highlight 3 aspects of the program that I think have really helped us on this front. One is the pilot program that Tusha mentioned a little earlier. And we were very intentional in how we designed it. So many clients were leaders. Actually, our managing director was part of the pilot program. And the reason why we did that was we really wanted them to understand what coaching is and what coaching is not. And as a result, we are never asked to fix someone. And we are very, very grateful for that, because in many organizations, coaching is either for high potentials. So basically, I feel people who don't need coaching because they're already high potentials, if you ask me, or problematic people. So that's not what we wanted for this program. We want this program to be for everyone. And having leaders or stakeholders having a very good understanding of what coaching is, I think it really, really helps. Number 2 is And I'm sure many people who are listening to this will be like, wow, there is no reporting to HR. There is no reporting to HR. The only data we share is who and how many sessions. So usually in organizations, there is a triad, the coach, the client, and the manager. And basically you discuss with the manager what kind of things you want to address in the coaching conversation, and then the client works with the coach on these topics. It's not the case here. We even encourage people to bring any topic that they want into the coaching conversation, because we believe in wholeness, as we shared before. So even if your goal is I want to lose 20 kgs or quit smoking or run the marathon or improve the relationship with my spouse, that makes sense, because we know that what will improve your personal life will have a ripple effect on your professional life. Of course, you can also bring professional topic, right? But for us, it's not relevant to focus on problems at work, for instance. So no reporting to HR, unless of course there is any legal obligations to disclose information, but yeah, touching wood, never happened so far. The third aspect is I found that it's an amazing learning opportunity, because you coach colleagues, you know them, sometimes they are your friends, sometimes you know a little bit about the topic, so you could be tempted to judge or give advice or like switch hats. And I find that really forces us to be fully centered, fully present, fully neutral. Of course, we always have an exit strategy, right? If it doesn't work, I can always say, hey, maybe you should be coached by Tushar. But so far, it's been working very well for us. But I find it's a really great learning opportunity.
When we engage in the chemistry session, like we mentioned earlier, if we know or the client knows that we will be too close, sharing on the same topic or working on the same project or same engagement per se, then we ask, to go to Silva, for example, if I am working with him. So there are options of where we can swap the coaches, which is again fantastic. And lastly, I think what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. So that is one rule that we follow. Whatever happens in the coaching engagement stays in coaching engagement.
And there is something we didn't mention, but there is a signed coaching agreement between the coach and the client, with all these rules are on paper.
People don't really understand what coaching is, so it's a good point. A lot of people think it's as good as counseling or therapy. It's not. And there are a lot of similarities, meaning counseling, therapy and coaching, both of them are actually focused on unleashing potential or supporting the person, definitely. But the difference is counseling would focus more on what was your past, what is your present, and what are the problem areas, why are you having those problem areas, why are you feeling the way you are feeling. And it's a lot of trauma or childhood or past life or those kind of issues. It's more focused on coping with those problems, whereas coaching is more action oriented. It's more focused on present and what you want your future to be like. Doesn't mean we don't talk about problems in coaching, we do, but we don't spend so much time on dissolving those problems per se. I mean, it's not a coping kind of support. It's more like knowing it, what do you want to do next. It's more action and growth and future focus. So that's the main difference according to me.
So I have one here. These are cards, you see, visuals. It's a tool that is called Points of View from Israel. We are quite big fans of this tool. Sometimes coaching can be very much in your head. There is a lot of talking, thinking, and using those tools. It helps kind of bypass the brain and really leverage on kinesthetics, auditory, visual cues as well. So we use tools like this in order to get insights, and that works very well with some people.
Yeah, there is no set recipe per se. like these are the tools we will use, that's the time when we would use it. It really depends upon what conversation or what that situation is. But few tools, those are my go-to tools I can call out is, if you want to know who you are, then I tend to use Enneagram a lot. Then the next one, if you want to see where you are right now, then Wheel of Life as an example, as a tool. The third one that we have prepared ourselves is the preparation questionnaire. So before you come for our first session, you prepare and ask questions to yourself, do some assessment of where you are and how you're feeling.
Yeah, sometimes we read a lot of books, and many books have activities, tools, techniques. So I'm thinking of two at the moment. One is called Business Model Me, which is a great, there are some nice canvas, for instance, in order to work on your strengths, your weaknesses, your unique value proposition, and what is it you could do. Another one is called Not Nice. So we have clients, they have issues saying no, holding boundaries, putting their needs first. So that's a book with plenty of tools in order to be a little less of a people pleaser. So we share those tools, we share those activities, so they are part of our toolkit, and they are part of our go-to tools in our coaching.
One more that I would like to add is, especially when there are relationships topic for coaching that are coming out, then we use something called third entity tool, which is, look at the situation from your point of view, then look at the situation from his point of view, and then look at the situation, the same thing, from a third entity perspective, which is the relationship between us. And suddenly it brings out new perspective on the relationship itself and unblocks and gives a lot of insight.
So we are very lucky that there is a strong coaching culture that is growing within PALO IT. So people wanting to be coached, but also people wanting to become coaches. So we are lucky we have a few candidates who want to become coaches, to coach others. So we're gonna ramp up. We're gonna double our capacity this year so that we can coach more people. That's one. Then if I'm at the boundary between the organization and the world, we are thinking of an event where we would showcase what we've been doing in this internal coaching program. We're going to share tips, because it's pretty unique to have a tech company with their own internal coaching program. So we feel that we have things to share. We have ideas to share, how we designed it, how we run it.
We as coaches, we have our own coaches as well. While we are coaching others, we are getting coached as well. And in the coaching fraternity, there's something called supervision. So this program can be supervised by a third coach or an entity. And what we can't see, what are our blind spots, our own blind spots, that can be probably brought out by this third supervisor. So we are planning to engage a supervisor as well. Coaching is not just coaching in this engagement, which is I am a coach, you are a client, not just that. I think coaching techniques and the better conversation techniques can be used by leaders as a leadership style to influence and to flourish the business as well. So in our leadership SWOT, which is already an engagement and a platform within PALO, where leadership team is learning and growing. So we want to bring coaching to the leadership SWOT as well and see what can be explored. There are a couple of ideas right now. So one is, can we help other organizations implement ICP or start ICP program in their own organization? That is one. The second one is, can we have coaching as an offering in itself to our clients? And if we want to venture into these areas, also now that we are scaling within PALO, I think we need a strong coaching management sort of a tool, where all the documents, all the insights, how many sessions have happened so far, all of this can be actually logged, and a centralized repository can be created for it to manage the whole coaching engagement. So we are looking for such kind of a tool as well.
So I'm very grateful that we started this coaching program. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, in 10 years from now, that will be a no-brainer. All the organizations, or at least all the successful ones, will have internal coaching programs. That will be something like we take for granted. So I really invite you. You know, if you've been interested in this conversation, if you are keen to start your own internal coaching program, yeah, just let us know, and we'll be very happy to work together.
So at PALO, we believe tech for good, and being a B Corp company, we want to balance the profit with purpose. Future of work is all about, you know, bringing purpose to life, and coaching is all about finding your own purpose as an individual as well as an organization. So that's where future of work is, that's where future is, and that is what is exciting. I think, like Silva mentioned, it will be a no-brainer and would be taken for granted that if you want to be successful, you should have a coach, you should have a coaching program within your organization, and we can help you.
If you need some coaching, you know, I would be very happy to be your coach, right? You know, you have my email address, right?
And same to you as well, by the way.
Great. Thank you, buddy.